Fine. So yesterday we have seen like how we can create our own test environment, something called as a developer account for our Salesforce training purpose, right? So how to create and what are the steps to activate the account that already I have covered. Now, see, let me first of all make a login into the org. All right. See, when you completed with your creation of your own account, so the first time we actually would require to go with developer.salesforce.com because that is the time when you are actually creating your account. Now, once your account is being ready, second time and from onward, second time and onward, you don't require to go with developer dot rather you have to access your account with something called login.salesforce.com. Login.salesforce.com. All right, so this is going to be the URL which you are going to use every time whenever you wanted to add a login to your organ, whenever you wanted to access the environment what you have created. So once you go to the login.salesforce.com, uh, you would require to enter the username and similarly the password, what you have set at the time of creation of the account. So it's a usual process. I think every one of you know this, right? So now this is the environment. All right, this is the environment which we have created. So before we go further and let's study with some different small, I could say the configuration modules. Let me try to, introduce you with this environment, what this environment is all. First of all, see, when we talk about environment, when we talk about environment, all right, Salesforce environment. We have two different kinds of environment. We have two different kinds of environments. There are always two different kinds of environment. The first one is your sandbox, and the second one is production. The second one is production. You can draw this diagram, or maybe and this is being recorded, so that's not an issue. All right. So the Salesforce environment, they are always of two types: sandboxes and production. Sandboxes and production. All right. Whenever you are accessing a sandbox, the URL that time is actually www.test.salesforce.com. This is the URL. Whenever you are accessing a sandbox, this is what the URL is: test.salesforce.com. All right. Test.salesforce.com. And similarly, whenever you are accessing a production, that time the URL by which we have to access is login.salesforce.com. Login.salesforce.com. Now you tell me one thing: how you have accessed this environment? What you have used? Login dot or test dot? Come on. To access this environment, to come into this particular place, what I have used? Either I have used login.salesforce.com, or tell me, either I have used test.salesforce.com. Yes, yes, come on, you can tell me. I mean, you can unmute yourself. I have not muted any one of you
Production.
because yes. So what you have used login.salesforce.com. That means this developer edition, see, developer edition what we have created right now, this developer edition, you can see, you can see dev add is being written over here. So what does dev add? Dev stands for developer, ed stands for edition. So the developer edition what we have created, this account, this environment what we have created, understand one thing: it is always production. It is always production environment. It is always a production environment, right? Now, what does it means by sandbox would be a topic. I'll gradually explain you everything that is actually being covered, in the deployment, in the deployments, Salesforce training, what I am taking, the classic one. It is having four basic modules: admin, which I have already started. Second would be development. You will be going to see the coding part in the development. Third would be the integration. That is also a coding part. And the final module would be deployments. Deployment is non-coding, like what you are going to see for next 40 to 50 sessions. Admin and deployment, that is completely a set of non-coding kind of sessions. Now see, when we are doing the deployments, that time you will be going to learn exactly what is a sandbox, how to create the sandbox, and what are the different types of sandbox. But during our discussions, wherever I feel this is something you should know, we're going to have a discussion on that as well. So right now, I feel what is important in this stage is like you should be aware of one thing, that when we talk about environment, Salesforce environment, there are two types of environments: sandboxes and productions. Sandboxes and production. When you go with test.salesforce.com, let me try to show you that as well. So if I go with, see, this URL, test.salesforce.com, all right, www dot, of course, test.salesforce.com. So I will be going to make a login. I'll be going to make a login into something called as a sandbox. I'll be going to make a login into something called as sandbox. I'll be going to make a login in something called as sandbox on. So when we talk about environment, Salesforce have two different types of environments: production environment and a sandbox environment. Whenever we access something with login.salesforce.com, we always access something production. We always access a production environment. And the same if you access from the test.salesforce.com, that is actually, it will going to eventually land you onto a sandbox. All right. So these are the two kinds of environment. Now the edition what we have using right now is a developer edition. Yesterday we have seen that Salesforce provide you both kind of editions, paid version and the free versions as well. Now, as a part of free editions, we have two possible editions. We have two possible versions. A 30 days trial account, we'll be also going to create this, but for a different purpose, particularly for the deployments. Whenever, I will be teaching you the deployments, because deployment is something that is not possible with a free developer account. Why it is not possible, we're going to discuss that as well. See, slowly, you have to keep patience when you are being with me. You have to keep patience. I will teach you everything. I'm not going to keep anything left with me. But what should I? Why should I do this? I will be going to teach you everything. But kaisa hota hai na? There's always like I mean, I have to decide this. There's always a certain small amount of dose, and you have to take it periodically. So I would, I have designed this training in such a way that there would always be a certain small quantum of dose, and I'll give you periodically so that you can easily digest that. Otherwise this would become difficult for everyone. Maybe there are some of the guys in the team, those who are actually learning any kind of software technology probably for the first time. So it could become a little bit difficult for them. And if you take it gradually, if you take it slowly, in that case everyone would going to have a better understanding. And moreover, if I'm making a topic in front of you, you at least should have a background knowledge of that. If you don't have it, it becomes difficult. If you already understand a little ABC of that, it would become easy for understanding. So that is the reason, I always know what needs to be taught right now and what needs to be kept for the future. Because I'm taking this from past 5 to 6 years, I'm been actually in the training segment. So you can have a belief, you can have a blind belief on me on particularly with this segment. So whenever we are accessing our environment, the one what we have created something called as a free developer account, this one, it's actually a production environment. First of all, understand this is not a sandbox. This one is actually a production. Now let's have to have understanding a little bit more about this environment. See, I told you one thing, that whatever the facility you get with a free developer account, they're almost same with your unlimited edition. All right, they're almost same with the unlimited. And it is actually, you get complete CRM functionality. You even get force.com platform. Let me try to show you. See, you have force.com. If I go with, for example, let me go with sales cloud. And for example, if I go with the accounts, or any object, all right. So you have force.com platform over here. You have force.com platform. So basically, a complete set of CRM functionality, force.com, a 24/7 support from the Salesforce, and App Exchange as well. App Exchange as well. You can go over here and you can see App Exchange. See the App Exchange, right? So you can even access App Exchange products from your developer account. So this account is capable to do, this developer account is actually capable to implement all those functionalities. You could implement, you could develop all those functionalities that we usually develop with the unlimited edition. But then there are certain things on based on what I could say I could create a little difference between unlimited and a free developer. And what are those? Actually, bandwidth is reduced. With the unlimited edition, you get 10 GB space, 10 GB for storing the data, and again 10 GB for storing the file. But when I talk about when I talk about your developer edition, when I talk about developer edition, let's see how much space we get. So first of all, go to the setup menu. Go to the setup menu. See, 95%, I will be telling you, and is will be from the notes. But there is always a scope. There is always a scope from to learning from something from we call this as an observation, right? So when you are sitting into my class, see, this is the most, I could say, the most drawback of a virtual class is like, I'm not able to see you and you are not able to see me. So there are, when we are teaching something, when we are actually explaining something, if you can see, if you can understand my, there are always, as a human tendency, we also understand the expressions. So that is something which is not, we are lagging with that. You cannot see me, that's why you cannot see my expressions. If I wanted to put some a more impact onto a topic, I cannot. I can only think do one thing, that could be I can just raise my voice a little bit. उसमें भी अगर आपने वहां पे अपनी तरफ से आपने आवाज कम कर दिया, तो there is nothing going to be effective. So the only way you could get me is, you have to put 100% concentration over here. When you are sitting in a class, when you are sitting in a class, you have to be very attentive. I know this is the something, you as soon as you wake up and you just join. Sometime it might happen because probably last night आपको सोने में काफी वक्त हो गया है ना, हमारे साथ भी होता है. बट दिस इज आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. आई दिस माय रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू टेक द क्लास. योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज टू बी अटेंटिव इन अ क्लास. इफ यू फील बहुत ज्यादा नींद आ रही, तो गो बैक एंड स्लीप. अपने आप को परेशानी में मत डालो, सो जाओ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. दिस लेक्चर इज गेटिंग रिकॉर्डेड एंड लेटर ऑन व्हेनेवर यू वोक अप एंड यू फील नाउ आई एम ओके, जस्ट वॉच दिस वीडियो. But try to be attentive in a class. Whenever you are sitting in a class, you have to be attentive, because see, 90%, 95% the training, the knowledge what you are getting, it would be from the training. But there is always a scope of learning 5%. Sometimes what happens is like, I just make certain clicks over here and over there. If you are observing me closely, you will be going to know. Sometimes I describe, sometimes even I have also forgot. Yeah, I am not a robot. I'm also a human being. Humans are committed, to make the mistake. That is how this is how we learn. This is how we grow. So whenever you are sitting in a class, right? Whenever you are sitting in a class, you have to be very attentive. You have to be very fresh, right? If you are like, if you are drowsy, if you are unhealthy, just go and take your sleep. Complete your sleep. That is also important. Like that is also important. Usually people should always have a sleep of 6 hours. In India, it's less to be 9 hours. All right, no problem in that. But if you are sitting in a class, try to be attentive. Try to be attentive. लेटते हुए देख रहे हैं, मतलब ऐसा मूवी के जैसा मत किया करो कि अपन लेटे हुए कहीं कान में हेडफोन लगा रखा है और मोबाइल से बस मूवी के जैसा देख रहे हैं, वैसा नहीं करो. ट्राई टू सिट लाइक अ क्लास जैसा होता है. आप पहली बात तो ये कि लैपटॉप से ज्वाइन किया करो, डेस्कटॉप से ज्वाइन किया करो. मोबाइल का स्क्रीन छोटा होता है, आपकी आंखों पे स्ट्रेस पड़ेगा. तो थोड़ा सा ना इस चीज को पर्सनली फॉलो करो, मतलब दैट इज जस्ट अ सजेशन गाइस. All right. So how to know certain things about this. First of all, go to the setup menu. See, when you go to the setup menu, setup is always loaded on the left side of the screen. This place. This is the place where just a moment. This is a place where things related to setup is actually being loaded. यहाँ पे सारी चीजें आती हैं आपकी. ठीक है. Now setup have four basic menus. Administer menu, build menu, deploy, and monitor. But deployment, you don't have anything. You will be going to see this because for deployment, we mostly would require two things. One is inbound and outbound chain sets. What is a chain sets? What is inbound chain set? What is an outbound chain set? What is the purpose? You will be going to learn everything. So you cannot perfectly do the deployments from here. Deployment मतलब होता है आप जो कोड बनाते हो, जो भी फंक्शनैलिटी आप बनाते हो ना, उसको हम ट्रांसफर करें, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह लेके जाएं. बट दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल ओवर हियर. तो डेवलपर अकाउंट के अपने कुछ लिमिटेशंस होते हैं. तो एक लिमिटेशन जो अभी मैंने आपको बताया कि यू कैन डेवलप समथिंग ओवर हियर, बट यू कैन नॉट माइग्रेट दैट. इफ यू डेवलप एन एप्लीकेशन, the application would remain here only. We cannot transfer that application from this place to another place. This is something called as deployments. This is something called as what? Deployment. There's a technical word for that. Capture all those things, catch those things. Deployments, see, understand. I told you this earlier as well. Every profession have his own vocabulary. We also have. I would try to, I would try to dilute the things as far as possible. I'll try to elaborate you as far as possible. But at the same time, I wanted you to learn the exact vocabularies for that, right? So when you migrate, when you transfer something what you have created in one environment and you migrated this to another environment. Okay, you shift the things, you created an application, maybe in this environment, and you wanted it to be get transferred to another environment. This is something called as deployments. This is something called as deployment. That will be the last topic of my training, classic Salesforce classic training. There are far more things you will be going to learn after this whole module of web technology and lightning. That's a different thing. But in my part, deployments would be the last thing. So deployment, we cannot do deployment over here. We cannot do deployments over here because for deployment, we are going to require two things called as outbound and inbound chain sets, which is not over here. So the first restriction, what we came to know about the developer edition is like, you can develop something. You can develop something, but what you cannot do is like, you cannot do the deployments over here. That would be a reason, guys, that would be a reason कि मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ कि हम लोग एक 30 days trial account भी बनाने वाले हैं आगे चल के. अभी नहीं, अभी तो whatever we will be developing, we would be developing that inside a developer edition. आगे चल के अपन एक और account बनाएंगे 30 days trial account, and that would be created only for the deployment purpose. That we will be going to create it only for the deployment purpose. How to understand the deployment, the process of deployment. That for that purpose, I will be, every one of us, you and me, would be creating a separate account called as a 30 days trial account. I'm going to see that. Chalo, that was the first limitation what you came to know about a free developer account. Second limitation. Here inside unlimited, you get 10 GB for data and 10 GB for file, right? Let's see how much we get it over here. So what you would require to do is like, go to setup menu, first of all, go to setup menu, and then go to company profile. You can see is over here as a tab. Just expand it. If you wanted to expand this, you have to click onto this small icon, right? This would expand. Another thing what you can do for this expansion is you can click onto company profile. All right. But I wanted you to observe one thing, because we are going to have a small discussions with this. Everyone concentrate. If I click this, what happens? And if I'm going to click now this, what is going to be happen? All right. See, I expanded all of the options which are inside company profile. They are listed out. This is the first way. Second way, company profile, right? Again, it's expanded. Now you tell me what you have observed. Yes, anyone? What you have observed? Yes, what you have observed?
We redirected to company profile web page.
All right. Very good. Yes. You're absolutely right, Ruchira. Yes. Anybody else wanted to share his opinion? What? अरे बहुत सिंपल सी चीज पूछी यार आप लोगों से. अरे this should not be happen, yeah. This should not be happen. You are sitting in a class, you have to answer. This should not happen. It's not on a shoulder of only few guys inside the class, those who are responsible to give the answer. Another would become this audience. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. You are not SAS guys, you are PAS guys. You have to develop the things, right? SAS थोड़ी ना पढ़ रहे हैं अपन. Anyways, let me tell you this. See, when you make a click over, for example, over here, does anything changes? The URL or what? Nothing. But when you make a click over here, the URL gets changed. Understand one thing. This is a very small thing, although. And I can, I can left this by assuming कि ये तो common sense है. ये तो कॉमन सेंस है, आपको पता होना चाहिए। बट मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि एक बार तो भी एटलीस्ट, एक ही बार, दिस इज द फर्स्ट एंड दिस इज द लास्ट टाइम जब हम इसके बारे में बात करेंगे, राइट? बट एटलीस्ट एक बार तो ये मुद्दा उठना चाहिए कि what is the difference, if you make a click for it, if you wanted to get options of any tab, if you make a click like this, if you make a click like this, and if you make a click on to this particular link, तो क्या difference है? difference ये है when you make a click over here, a new page will be getting loaded. You can see the changes in the URL. आप देखो यहाँ पे URL change होता है every time. Every time, see, whenever you make a click, you see something is getting changed, a page is getting loaded, a blank page is getting loaded, a blank page is getting loaded, right? And I have nothing to do with this page. I have nothing to do with this page. Do you see? I have nothing. If I wanted to get, see, I wanted to get the options of company profile, data classification, it is going to be get expanded. That is what, अगर मैं यहाँ क्लिक करता हूँ तो यहाँ पर कुछ चीजें आती है, URL चेंज होता है और ये एक्सपैंड भी हो जाता है। मतलब what was my need in this case? My need was to get the options inside company profile. There are two different ways to get it. If I'm probably on manage apps, right? I wanted to get the options. I wanted to access the any one option of company profile. There are two ways to get it. I can make a click over here. If I make a click, nothing changes. No URL, no pages is being loaded. And the second way is to, like, click onto company profile. Another page would be loaded, and then you would access. Now understand one thing. We are dealing with a cloud technology, right? Salesforce is what? A complete cloud-based technology. Complete cloud-based. And in the cloud, everything is accessed from the cloud. If you click over here, one page is getting loaded, right? From where it is getting loaded? It is getting loaded from the server. Now you wanted to access the options. You make a click over here. This is a very small thing. I'm telling you. मतलब मैं आपको नहीं बता सकता, ये मैं अज्यूम कर सकता है अपने आप पे कि दिस इज अ कॉमन सेंस, आपको पता होना चाहिए. You should be enough mature in technologies to understand this difference. But मेरे हिसाब से एक बार इसके बारे में बात होनी चाहिए. And that is what we are doing right now. देखो दोस्त, कैसा है? Don't make unnecessary clicks. Don't call unnecessary pages if you don't require this page to be get loaded. If you don't at all require this URL to be get access, why you are calling? Because see, whenever you make a click like this, one page is getting called from the server. You are making unnecessary server call. You could access the options just by clicking over here. If you make a click over here, in the same URL, you could access the options. Why you at all required to click over here? So try to minimize the number of clicks, because we are dealing with a cloud-based technology. Understand? So from this onward, whenever you wanted to access any menu, any internal option of any tab over here, don't make a click onto the name. Rather, just try to expand this. Understand? This is what should be done. And this is a common sense. But क्या है कि एक ही बार सही, but हम सबको ये चीजें आनी चाहिए और हमने इस चीज को अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए, right? All right. So what you would do is, like, go to setup menu, and then go to setup menu, and then go to administer menu, of course. Inside the admin menu, you have something called as a company profile. Just expand this tab, and now click on to company information. Here you have to make a click. यहाँ पे कोई option नहीं है, right? So the name what I have given is my own company. You can give any name. I already have told you yesterday. Let's try to understand some of the things from here. Let's get introduced with what we are using. This is our environment. First of all, which environment? A developer edition. Oh, sorry, which environment? It's a production environment. What is this environment? Sorry, what is this environment? It's a production environment. Now, what edition I'm using? I'm using a developer edition. It's mentioned over here. What edition you are using? You are using a developer edition. What edition you are using? You are using a developer edition. Now, usually we call this as an organization. Org. O-R-G, or organization. Usually we call this, we don't call this as an environment, edition. We generally call this as what? We generally call this as organization. We generally call this as what? And so what you see over here, it's written organization detail, right? So your organization edition is developer edition. Your organization ID is this one, is this one. And let's understand one more thing. Every organization ID always, first of all, it's an 18-digit ID. Every organization have a unique number, an alphanumeric number. It will have alphabets. It will also have numerical numbers, right? Like over here, it's 00. I think this is one or I whatever. One is one, and then four, and then GFG 00D 5G whatever. Every organization have an 18-digit ID, which is called as organization ID. 18-digit alphanumeric ID. All right. And this is unique. This is unique for every organization. That means no two organization would have same ID. No two organization would have same ID. It's always unique. For every organization, there is always an 18-digit alphanumeric unique ID, which always starts with 00D. It's not O, 00D. Every organization of every edition, every organization of every edition, whether it's an essential edition, whether it's a professional edition account, whether it's an enterprise edition organization, or maybe unlimited or 30 days trial account or permanent account, free developer. For every organization, there is an organization ID of 18-digit alphanumeric ID, which always starts with what? 00D. 00D. Okay? Understand this all. Understand these are very important things. You should know this, and you should know this in the beginning itself, because later on we'll be going to go dive. We'll going to dive a deep, and the concept what we are going to learn over there would be I think a detailed concept. But these are some of the basic things, and basic needs to be covered in the beginnings of the training. That is the reason we are discussing this all. So every organization have an 18-digit alphanumeric ID, which is unique, and it's always start with what? 00D. It's always start. This is these three digits are always common for every, and rest other 15 digits, they are changed. All right. That was second thing. What is your server number? What is your server? Your instance. You are present on what? AP24. You are present on AP24. I told you that Salesforce also provide you EAS services. EAS. Somebody of you have asked me, can you please describe the EAS once again? When I was taking, I told yes, I can do that. No problem. Unless and until you don't get the concept, I'm here to describe you. Don't worry. You can ask me. You can ask me to repeat this as many number of the times you wanted. This is your rights. This is your rights. All right. So what is an EAS? EAS is infrastructure as a service. I told you that Salesforce is that technology which is having all capabilities, all capacity of clouds. Salesforce provide you SaaS, the ready-made softwares to use. Salesforce also provide you PaaS, a platform where people like you and me, they could develop the applications, new application, existing applications में changes कर सकते हैं. And Salesforce also provide EAS. The whole structure of cloud is based on EAS. Salesforce have their own servers. We have seen that as well. Salesforce have their own servers. With the status.salesforce.com, we came to know that there are three different regions: North America region, sorry, EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and then Asia Pacific. Don't go with EU. EU is a temporary, which is created, and sometime it is. It will going to be removed very soon. As soon as this update 15 को update हो जाती है, उसके कुछ दिन बाद ये हट जाता है. So this is a temporary position. Don't go with this. It although have server for the Swedes and all that, but it is going to be merged. Don't worry. Anyways, so mostly we have only three regions: America region, EMEA region, and Asia Pacific. Now your instance, what you have created, right? What you have created is present on AP24. If you wanted to locate where I am, you are onto AP24 server. This is your server, and you can see everything related to this. What is the history of maintenance? What is the plan maintenance? So we can see that winter 23. Right now we are on to what? We are on to summer 22. This is the present edition of Salesforce, the present version of Salesforce. Right? The present release is what? Summer 22. What is the next release? Next is winter 23 is coming. And when it is coming, it's coming on October 15th for Indian standard servers. Right? Indian standard, it's going to be launched on 10:30 p.m. in the night, and within 10:35 it is going to be get updated. Is it that I am the one only which is getting updated? No, the whole ecosystem of Salesforce, including all servers from America, all are from the EMEA, and all are from by so all are from your Asia Pacific region. All of them are getting updated. So these informations, these informations are very important to discuss right now. All right, because this is the beginning. So what is my server? My server is AP24. My instance is present onto AP24 server. Now let's come to the data and file capacity. Data and file capacity with the unlimited edition. With the unlimited edition, what you get? You get 10 GB for data and 10 GB for file as well, right? Let me locate that. 10 GB for data and 10 GB. You are getting every functionality of unlimited, but the bandwidth is reduced in terms of so many things. What is that? You cannot perform deployments, right? Let's compare the data and the file space as well. So if I go with this developer account, if I go with this developer edition account, you can see dev add a developer edition account. How much maximum data I'm having and how much file. You can click any one of the, there are two links, view. And you can click either of them. Dono mein same hi aata, don't worry. So when I make a click over there, see, as a part of data storage, I'll get 5 MB. And as a part of file storage, I'll get 20 MB. That means 5 MB for data and 20 MB for file. 5 MB. You will going to get 5 MB for data and 20 MB for file. But with unlimited, you get 10 GB. GB and MB, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference, megabyte and gigabyte. 1024 megabyte, 124, 1000, not 124, 1024 megabyte, 1024 megabyte. That becomes 1 GB. That becomes 1 GB. So there is a huge gap of bandwidth between these two. But yes, I'm telling you, this much is sufficient. Don't think कि ये बहुत कम है. No, this is sufficient. This is sufficient. Why? Because this account would only have the data which we are going to make a use just for the practice purpose. Just for the practice. Let me try to show you something from real time. So this is what some of the differences between your developer account, although it's also a production environment, it is not sandbox, but you have certain limitations related to the bandwidth, right? We get a small amount of space like 5 MB for data and 20 MB. 20 MB for what? 20 MB for the file storage. I would like to show you something again. See, out of this 5 MB, 298 KB has already been consumed. Like 6% of the total capacity is already consumed. Now this is a question. 13 KB of file storage is being consumed. How come this is possible? Just yesterday we created this account. I have not created any data. But how come this is possible that these data have been consumed, right? Like 6% of 6%, somewhere around 298 KB of data storage is already consumed. 13 KB from the file storage is already being consumed. How come this is possible? We're going to have a discussion on that as well, maybe in the next lecture, right? So these are some of these are some of the things you should know about your org. These are some of the things that you should know about your org. There are so many other things as well, but like the language settings, the time zone settings, the currency settings. But see, we will be going to discuss gradually everything, right? We'll be going to discuss gradually all of them. We'll be going to cover each and everything, but yeah, we're going to cover it gradually. I think this should be this should be done by today. We should stop it over here right now. And by tomorrow, we're going to start with new concept, and that is how we can, what does it means by a tab, and how we can customize the things related to tab. So I have updated your notes. These notes have been updated. So what I will be doing is would be along with today's session video, I'll be going to upload this fresh copy of notes as well onto the drive, right? You can access it from there. All right. That's all for today, guys. If you have any question, you could ask me. Yes. Any questions?
हेलो सर।
Yes.
सर, जो हमें बैंडविड्थ अलाउड की गई है फ्री डेमो अकाउंट में, और जो हम रैंडम यूआरएल पे क्लिक करते हैं, जैसे वो ऑप्शन दिए है अपने को, तो उसका भी डेटा इसमें ऐड हो जाता है क्या, काउंट हो जाता है क्या?
रैंडम यूआरएल मतलब
जो क्विक स्टार्ट मेनू है, क्विक स्टार्ट मेनू है डेमो अकाउंट में।
कहाँ पे?
अ, जो क्विक स्टार्ट मेनू है जिसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, मैनेज
ये
यूजर वगैरह ऑप्शंस थे। हाँ हाँ हाँ।
अच्छा, दिस वन।
जहाँ से हम यू हाँ यस, जहाँ से यूआरएल जंप हो जाता है,
हाँ हाँ हाँ, एवरीथिंग एवरीथिंग
तो वो
everything
भी
is,
डेटा।
yeah, everything is accounted onto this capacity only. Whatever you are seeing right now, if it is a
ओके
data of an object or maybe it's a file, everything is accounted over here itself.
ओके, थैंक
Hmm.
यू सर।
Hmm. Any other questions? Any other questions? And I hope every one of you have created this developer account, because see, if you don't have it, if you don't have it from tomorrow onward, today was like, I was again giving you a brief idea about this account. But from tomorrow onward, I'll be starting with like tab interfaces, how to customize the tab, how to bring the tabs. What is first of all a tab? What does tab represents on a user interface and everything, right? So that theoretical concept plus everything would be like practical. So if you don't have this account, if you don't have this account, then please don't sit in the class. Simple, very simple, straightforward. What you will going to do in a class if you don't have this? You would, if I whatever I'm actually telling you, you would not be able to recreate that. Why? Because if you wanted to recreate it, you must have an account. And this is pretty simple thing. It's a pretty straightforward kind of thing. There's no there's no complicated form or whatever, right? It's just a plain thing. Go to developer.salesforce.com, fill the form, just press that is save button, and wait for some time. You will going to get a link on your email ID. Verify your account, give the passwords over there, enter the security question. That's it. For the first time when you make a login, you will be going to land it on lightning interface. Make a switch from lightning to classic. Come over classic, then close it. Second time when you make a login, go to login.salesforce.com, enter your username, enter your password, and you will be here only. That's it. So if you even don't have time to have this, right? So don't join this training. Please don't join this. Why? Because there would be no meaning na yaar. There would be, if you're not following my instruction, why you are over here, right? So if you wanted to really do this training, you should follow everything what I am going to show you, right? All right, all right. Any questions? Anything you wanted to have or discuss?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Pallavi.
Sir, yesterday when I created this account,
Mm-hmm.
तो वहां पे ना ये नहीं आया था, वो जो आप बोल रहे थे ना, स्विच फ्रॉम लाइटनिंग टू क्लासिक, मेरा वो स्क्रीन आ गया लाइटनिंग का, बट वो ऑप्शन नहीं मिला मुझे कहीं, तो कुछ
Okay, कोई बात
डिफरेंस है?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं, आप उसको क्लोज कर दो एंड you have username and passwords with you, right?
यस यस, नाउ आई एम
Second
हैविंग
time,
दैट। तो उससे
second
कोई इफेक्ट
time,
नहीं होगा ना जब हम कल स्टार्ट करेंगे तो?
नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा। Second time go with नहीं आया ऐसा नहीं है, आया है बट आपका स्क्रीन साइज बड़ा होगा। I'll tell you this, मैं बताता हूँ क्या हुआ होगा। आप अभी भी एक्सेस करोगे तो आएगा, मैं बताता हूँ what was the
ओके।
reason. You are on to 100% screen size, ठीक है? When you make a click over here, आप यहाँ पे ढूंढ रहे हो,
हाँ
ठीक है?
हाँ।
आप यहाँ पे ढूंढ रहे हो, राइट? बट दैट
यस।
ऑप्शन इज द बॉटम। तो व्हाट यू वुड रिक्वायर टू डू, दो तरीके बताता हूँ मैं आपको। आप कंट्रोल प्रेस करके रखो कीबोर्ड से, अब माउस यूज करते हैं, आई थिंक माउस में स्क्रॉल होता है, तो उसको स्क्रॉल बैक करो। देखो अभी मैं 90% पे आ गया, स्क्रॉल बैक करो, ठीक है? तो आप देख रहे हो यहाँ पे when you hide this, जैसे आप इसको स्क्रीन को छोटा करते हो, तब देखो दिस इज प्रेजेंट ओवर हियर व्हेन यू आर ऑन टू दी 100%। ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं आया, बस आप लोकेट नहीं कर पा रहे हो। अभी आप इसको यहाँ से ऐसे भी करोगे, ठीक है? दिस इज एन ऑलवेज विजिबल मेन्यू, ऑलवेज विजिबल मेन्यू, इट वोंट बी स्क्रॉल, ये स्क्रॉल नहीं होता है। तो आप भले नीचे जा रहे हो, आपको वो ऑप्शन नहीं नजर आ रहा है, इट्स ऑप्शन इज ओवर देयर, कि उसको एक्सेस करने के लिए आप स्क्रीन को छोटा करो, है ना? तो आप ऐसे कर सकते हो, या फिर अगर आप माउस यूज नहीं करते हैं, बाय द वे लेट्स से यू डोंट यूज अ माउस, ठीक है ना, तो आप यहाँ पे जाके आप यहाँ से भी इसको छोटा कर सकते हैं इस तरह से, एंड व्हेन यू सी दिस, राइट? तो आपको यहाँ पे ऑप्शन नजर आ जाता है. You can see this option over here. Switch to Salesforce class. This is the first way. The another way to do this is like, if you don't find it, just go into the quick find,
Okay.
type something like classic, या class, या CLE type कर दो, या
Okay.
सिर्फ C type कर दो. नहीं, C में नहीं आएगा. सिर्फ CL type कर दो या जैसा भी है, तो you will going to get this option, right? ऐसा है. तो ये ऑप्शन है, बस ये कि आप उसको लोकेट नहीं कर पा रहे हो प्रॉपरली. Try to do with this.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
And one thing, sir, जब हम ये करेंगे तो lightning and classic मतलब both simultaneously will go on or one
नहीं
by
नहीं,
one?
we'll always go with classic only.
Okay.
This training what I will be conducting is classic, Salesforce classic, right? You will be going to have a separate training for lightning,
Okay, sir.
right? But I would try, in during this course of my training, I would try to whenever I'm teaching you any concepts, particularly from real time, I would be taking that from the lightning, so that you should have an idea, a brief idea about the lightning environment as well. But see, I don't mention this in the syllabus of your training, but I always take, I always take sessions of the lightning environment. Let me try to show you. And this is my usual practice for every batch. मतलब अभी तो बहुत सारा डेटा मैंने डिलीट कर दिया है. मतलब when you go to the deployments, right? I always have sessions for the lightning experience. You can see for every batch I have, I have उनको बताया है मैंने कि what is a lightning experience, how to use the lightning experience and all that, right? So for every batch I used to conduct this code wherever I have taken. ये तो चल ही रहा है अभी. So don't worry, ये मैं बताता चला जाऊंगा. But my part is actually to teach you classic.
Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.